Opa! Welcome everybody to Stavvy's World, 904-800 Stav. Call in, we'll solve all your problems. We have a beautiful panel, a returning champion, and two just sexy little animals coming along with him, both Winnie and Gary.
An old bird and a hairless cat.
I feel honored.
Yeah, fully hairless. What's your body hair situation look like, Gary?
It's like, I'm very hairy.
Nice.
I'm hairy outside of the top.
You're not that hairy. I've seen you.
I'm pretty. I don't know. I'm pretty hairy.
He's got an Audi belly button too.
Interesting. Interesting. Now
I tried hiding that from Sam, and then he saw it, and now he brings it up wherever we go. So it's unfortunate. I thought, please stop. But yeah.
And that's just because the doctor didn't snip enough. How does an Audi get made?
I don't know. It was the 80s.
Yeah, dude.
It's the 80s. What does that mean?
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe
every baby in the 80s was born with an Audi.
I think maybe it was like his first one that he was doing, and then he just messed up. But
yeah. Did your parents go to a discount doctor? What do you mean it was his first one?
I don't know. I think he did my sister's buttons too, and then but mine just got fucked up. No, I'm the only one.
Oh wow.
Yeah. No, it's a tough thing to have. It really is. And that doesn't even go.
His dick isn't any though.
There it is.
Yeah. I got issues, but yeah, it started at birth. The whole button thing.
Dude, I think this is going to unleash a one-man show here.
Yeah, let's go, Gary. Fucking go.
Yeah. So I got more body hair than I would like, and I have an Audi.
You have an Audi.
And my dick is little.
That's a tough trio, bro.
And then we'll get into my childhood.
What do you think? What is your favorite attribute about yourself? Let's get positive here.
He's kind of ripped. He's pretty.
Guy who wants to fuck.
Let Gary. Let Gary answer, Sam. We didn't ask you what's the thing you want to fuck Gary the most about. We asked Gary what he thinks.
I think I have nice eyes.
Nice eyes. Thank you. See, I was going to say nice eyes.
You never looked at them.
No. Just looking at
my body.
Looking at those cum gutters. Dreaming of just throwing a load on those washboard abs in the tour bus.
We did a gig once in Columbus, and we got into a fight with a woman at the airport because she was screaming at TSA. She was so fucking rude. Yeah. And we just started zinging her. We're like, "Fuck this lady." So we just started going at her, and
you're roasting her like pro bono.
We're roasting her pro bono, and the TSA lady like loved us for it.
Yeah.
And then the lady turns to Gary and she goes,
Go ahead. Sorry.
She goes, "Oh yeah, well you're short." And Gary's response is, "You should see me with my shirt off." I was like, we had her.
I know.
We had her on the ropes. What the hell?
It was 6 in the morning.
You let her get you, dude.
I was getting ahead of myself. And
you should see me with your shirt off.
She was a horrible person.
Yeah.
And she had kids with her too. Terrible person.
She's calling me like basically a little man, and I was like, and then I thought that was a good response. It was definitely not the best response.
No. You had her. You had a bunch of other stuff.
So we see her at like 6 in the morning for this. We're at TSA, and you see this. She's just treating this person horribly. As soon as you see something.
By the way, I'm sorry to interrupt. How much of a piece of shit do you have to be on the side of TSA?
I know.
That's crazy. That's insane.
No, we felt
the lady's
bad.
like, you guys want to bring in some explosives? Thanks for what you did up there. You want to just bring through a big gulp? I don't give a fuck.
But we can't we're not going to fight somebody physically, but verbally we could take somebody on. It's kind of like when a UFC fighter it just happens to be at a bodega that gets robbed and they save the day.
You're equally as heroic.
And exactly.
Calling an overworked mother with an anger problem a fat bitch at 6 a.m.
in front of her
It's
kids.
the same as saving a Muslim family from getting their only piece of property, protecting their only piece of property.
This Al-Shabaab walk through security because they were distracted. But, it's all right. We did our part.
Heroes.
No, she was a terror. I mean, you're right. You have to be a bag of shit first to side with TSA.
On TSA
and she was so out of line.
Yeah.
Just clearly had anger problems and was just berating an overworked, miserable person.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
That's atrocious. And then just in the airport in general.
It gave us such a high though. I didn't need a coffee after. Wow. It was like a confrontation like that will wake you the fuck.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
It was nice.
That is nice, man. And you guys travel all the time together. You're you basically open for Sam a lot.
Yeah.
You boys just take a lot.
I have to fight with him over, with Nate Bargatze over who gets him.
That's true.
Yeah.
How does that? Do you have any loyalty? Because Nate's in arenas, so the checks must be.
The
checks must be nicer.
I have great times with both of these guys. guys. And,
here we go.
right.
Here we go. Let's put you on the hot seat, Gary.
And it's good.
I have
fine.
a gun. It's pointed at Nate or it's pointed at Sam. You choose.
Get rid of him. I love that.
What about Sal? Get Sal Volcano in here.
He'll be here soon. He'll be here tomorrow, actually. Come back, Gary. We'll make you answer that question
quality
again.
Shows, it's great. I love it.
You get to curse on my shows.
I do. I get a curse.
Oh, you got to work
yeah.
clean on Nate for Nate.
Yeah, you got to be completely clean for Nate.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah,
and you can no
if
problem.
Not, Nate he's a monster behind stage.
Yeah.
He curses at you too.
He'll beat you.
Stage,
He's actually branded you with a cattle iron.
Yeah, exactly. You have to
it's like Yellowstone, but it's just a C. Right here. You're clean.
That's awesome, dude. Respect. Damn, that's so insane to think about. Comedy in an arena is crazy to begin with.
Yeah.
But clean comedy in an arena, you're literally just a guy up there. Not that cursing makes it any better necessarily, but it's just for 2 hours, people just little humorous. It's not even like a lot of anger. There's not a lot of like emotion. There's not a lot. It's just like humorous observations for 2 hours in the same place that like, the Celtics play. It's insane.
I did that. I did that arena.
You did that arena?
With Nate. But it's an insane experience. But I'm hoping that I'm not completely clean. But
sure.
When I'm up there, I'm just hoping that nothing slips out.
Right.
And it's like you don't think about it until you're like in front of that many people. You're like, you could just screw up.
There is no
Your dick
way.
slips out. It's the dirtiest set of my life.
The one time my dick looks big, it falls out of my jeans in an arena in front of a bunch of 12-year-old Southern children. There must be families though, right? Because it's clean. That's awesome.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, being
so
a clean
smart.
comic, he's selling to the whole family. They don't have to get a babysitter now.
Yeah,
selling 4 tickets instead of 2.
Genius.
Not us. I'm literally.
No chance.
I sent Stav a cut of my special last night. My opener is about a baby sucking my penis. And the streaming.
And
partner,
I'm like, keep it. Don't you fucking cave to the man. Open with the baby sucking your cock joke, man. We're artists. We're the last truth tellers. We stand at the forefront between us and cancel culture.
I'm a truth teller, and they're like, wait, did that actually happen to you? Is that
weird? We're at the edge of the wall. It's fucking Game of Thrones, and we're stepping back the White Walkers, aka lib cancel culture. If we don't open our $1 million specials with pedophile jokes, then all of Western civilization will crumble.
That's what the people want.
It's a great joke too.
Yeah, it works.
Watch, and we should. Yeah, let's get some plugs. The special will be coming out in about a month, right? It's coming out in July.
July 9th on a major streamer.
July 9th on a major streamer. Yeah. We'll just maybe we'll put it in if it's all said and done by the time it comes out. And Big Gary over there, you got a couple projects coming up, buddy.
Yeah, May 28th got the YouTube special coming out.
Love it.
That's my comedy special. Sam EP on that.
Sam produced it.
Yeah. And then
I just hung in the back and some.
No, you gave me lines. I had to do pickups. Sam shouted out. He's like, "You fuck this."
I made him retell the joke about having a small dick, and on stage he goes, "You're making me do this to shame me." I said, maybe not. Maybe I'm a master EP. I don't know.
I kept that in the end credits too, so that's great. Yeah, it's funny. Then and then June 10th, I got a podcast coming out about my dad, who's a conman.
Love that. That's awesome.
I've listened to the first episode. It's incredible.
I mean, that's insane. We've talked about it before. We've been friends for years, obviously, and we're basically going to do a better version of a Pod Don't Lie episode right now.
Yeah.
Because remember, we had you on. We were just talking about it, and it's insane. Like, your father's it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it started back in the '90s where he and we went to probably over like 50 games where I would impersonate a Sports Illustrated for Kids reporter. He would impersonate a Sports Illustrated for Kids photographer, and we just get into the garden completely for free.
Wow.
So we wouldn't have tickets. Then I go into the locker room after the games and interview players. And I met Jordan. I met Mario Lemieux. I was at Rangers.
That's your favorite hockey player ever, too.
Yeah, Mario Lemieux is my favorite hockey player. I was at the Stanley Cup for 3 of the games. It's at Glass for Game 7.
And Gracie Mansion for the Stanley Cup. He went to the fucking party.
Yeah, my dad didn't. So my dad, after getting into all this stuff, he never stopped. It was like he would always just push it to the limits where,
of course,
after going to the game and having access. But we went to the after party after the Rangers won the cup, and then when they celebrated at Gracie Mansion, and he got past the mayor's security detail, no problem. So he would just constantly, he just loved it. He loved the rush.
Yeah.
My dad's just a guy who never cared about consequences. So
right.
Usually that stops at like, when you're like maybe going into like college or after college, you're like, all right, I'm going to settle down.
I got to get it together.
I'm going to be a normal person.
Yeah.
My dad was like, this is how I'm going to live my life. And everything that he did was he would try and con people.
That's why. And so so you grew up here in Jersey or in New York? Or
Long Island.
On Long Island?
Yeah.
So you grew up on Long Island, and this is like, we're talking what, like the early 90s?
Early 90s,
Early 90s. So yeah, it is like it does feel like the last time you could talk your way through that. Like you could still probably case by case con your way through, but the early to mid 90s, like that seems like the last time. I mean, 9/11 probably is the true bam. Right. Ever since
my
then,
dad was part of that too.
He was yeah. He tried. He talked his way off the plane. Yeah. He was like, "I'm just gonna parachute off here, boys. I'm gonna just drop me off where they're doing the X Games. I'm gonna parachute down." but that's like, that really is like, it's a beautiful time when still...
I think people believed more what you were saying before 9/11. Like, people really took you at your word. Now I feel people are a little bit more suspicious. Like, is what you're saying the truth?
Well,
you still could get people on shit.
You can definitely get people, but now it's like... Now we do so much security, almost theater. Yeah. Where it's like, there's things where... like, taking your shoes off is not going to do shit. Right. You know what I mean? Like, there's stuff to make you... All the TSA stuff we do does not... make us safer. It just really, it makes people think something's going on. But like the lady that
does it, even though I think most people are just angry. Most people taking this stuff off are just like, I don't think anyone feels relief.
Well, we travel every fucking weekend. Yeah. But if you think about,
I don't feel safer.
Think about, but we're tired of doing anything to travel through. If you think about a guy who travels literally twice, gets on a plane 2 times a year, he's probably like, I mean, that's how I thought. I was like, well, this is for our safety, like just stupid. You know what I mean? But now it's like there's so many over the top checks, security checks that don't mean shit. Whereas back then it was like, there really was barely any security. There was really barely, like, a vest could probably get you most places.
You go internet, whereas, like, my dad was able to reach out to the Garden and then say that Sports Illustrated for Kids was coming. They didn't have, like, a contact over there, direct contact to be like, is this person exactly who he says he is?
That's probably why.
They just took him at his word. Then he brings a kid. Yeah, the kid gets you into like stuff,
especially a cute kid like Gary had the bowl cut, the 90s cut.
Ooh, nice, yeah,
pretty cute.
Those gleaming,
he liked me in all
those gleaming, sparkling,
tight little child body, sculpted, sinewy.
Let's not forget his beautiful eyes, Sam. You don't even listen to the guy. He told you what he wants compliments on, and you're talking about how sexy he was when he was 7. Tell him his eyes are nice, for Christ's sake.
They're patting Gary down. They're like, is that an Audi, bud?
Put him in the Uggo line. Put him in the non-fuckable child line.
He was at the Jordan double nickel game.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
dude.
so 5th game back at the Garden, and I mean,
that's crazy.
Packed with celebrities, and then that was one where the real Sports Illustrated for Kids guys were actually at the game.
Oh, what happened then?
So they didn't have a kid. They never used a kid reporter. That's what's also like part of the genius of my dad. It's like, he didn't even check to see if like they actually used the kid, but it also didn't matter because people just believe what you tell them. If this guy,
looking back, it's kind of weird to be like, that's a guy and a kid.
Yeah. I would also say that he wasn't my father too, so it would be like he was just a random photographer.
That's way weirder.
I think that was so weird. I would ask him, and this is
you can hear the rest on Quiet on Set, the Nickelodeon doc about Gary.
If Gary was a better actor, he's definitely getting molested as a kid. His dad is definitely selling him to Nickelodeon. Good thing you couldn't read lines, couldn't memorize lines.
This is how sad. This is how sad it was with my dad. Where it got to the point where we did this at so many games where it's like, can you just please say that you're my father? Just because I'm like, and that's just like one of the saddest things. Aside from us never sitting together at a game.
You never sat together?
He would be taking photos, right?
He'd be taking photos, so he'd be sticking his camera through the glass at the games, at the Ranger games, or he'd be on the court. And I'd either be up in the press area or like I'd have like a great seat. Like,
so he's just like, all right, Bucko, enjoy the game. Oh, yeah. Don't get abducted.
No, exactly. I'm between the ages of like 9 to 13 when I'm doing this stuff, and I'm walking around the Garden by myself at the end of every.
13 was the end. He wasn't cute anymore. It's like any child star. Yeah, they hit puberty and we're like,
this isn't gonna work.
Not
anymore.
As good. Damn, dude. So that's so funny that the actual Sports Illustrated for kids. That is so true that it's like it's a kids magazine. It's like you go to a pediatrician, the doctor's not a child. Like it's like why would it be a kid report? I mean, I guess they do like the fun little video segments, but that's video. It's never you don't want a child to take notes.
So
it's so funny.
But he did do the interviews though. He did.
Yeah. So we actually we went through with it. We kept up with the appearances. So I would actually interview each player, and I would interview Michael Jordan, and I had a recorder. Unfortunately, we lost a lot, like the recordings and stuff. But a lot of times I would
pawned it off.
Yeah,
your dad pawned the recorder
Who knows?
off.
I mean, he was always up to something. When I interviewed Mario Lemieux, we videotaped it. So who knows what happened to those tapes? But but the podcast, it talks about the con, and then it goes deeper than that because after when I was about 15, I stopped talking to my dad completely. Yeah, and so for 24 years, he and I haven't spoken. Wow. And the podcast picks up where I just had a kid, and I start thinking more about my dad and this great thing that we did at the garden.
You had a kid. He's like, I got to get back to this. Grift.
He's like, Dad, how did you get him to listen? He's like,
how'd you get him in? Yeah. And then so the podcast picks up with me basically on the search and find out mission. Why did my dad make these decisions that he made? Because we haven't talked in 24 years.
Wow, dude.
I try and go find out where he's at, and that's
interesting.
10 episodes.
We were telling this story to this production company, and Gary's like, I met Bill Murray, I met Cindy Crawford, and they're like, sounds like he was a great dad. We're like, well, he left.
Yeah.
He wasn't a good person. He did cool shit for him.
Yeah. Also, it was like a lie and a crime, and based off of.
Yeah, this was the nicer lie that he had. This
you
is
weren't
where
allowed to tell people in school.
Yeah, I couldn't tell people.
I mean, it's a weird thing to get those opportunities
and
those pictures, and he couldn't tell his classmates.
Yeah, couldn't tell anybody, and then
you're the kid's like, I know Michael Jordan. They're like, shut the fuck up. You don't know Michael Jordan.
Him last night.
I just asked him what his favorite type of pasta was. He said macaroni and cheese. Like, shut the fuck up, Gary. We're tired of Gary's pathological lie. You're the one kid.
You're just like your dad.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, that kid that was always like, oh yeah, my mom went to high school with the Blue Ranger, actually. Just those dumb lies. You actually could have you were telling the truth, and then no one would have believed you.
Yeah, I just want to know, I was at the Rangers Stanley Cup Game 7, and the next day I was in school, after I probably went to bed at 4 in the morning. And the next day I'm in 5th grade, and I'm going to class with my classmates, and it's none of it makes sense. I couldn't share that with anybody. I'm I was just at their after party.
That's wild. Yeah. That's the secret element of it is a thing that you don't think about either, because that'll fuck a kid up too. Which is I'm just not allowed to share the only positive experience we ever had. I'm not allowed to tell anyone.
Well, most parents tell their kids to tell the truth, and my dad was like,
that's true.
If a lie gets you far, go with it.
Wow. Yeah. In your so have you lied? Was that something you had to get rid of?
Yeah,
personally,
for sure.
Were you a liar?
I was. I mean, we talk about children being groomed. I was groomed at least to be a liar, not by a pedophile or anything. But I was groomed to be a scammer, and I saw how it worked for my dad, and it was at a point where I was at end of college, I'm like, do I want to be the person my dad was, or do I want to be me? And I chose to be my dad.
You chose to be your dad.
Do I want courtside tickets? 400. What do I?
I did stuff I sold drugs in college, and it wasn't something. My dad, as far as I know, he never sold any drugs. But I was I figured out how to get away with it. You find the little loopholes of
Gary's a snitch.
Yeah. You find out how to get away with it. Just find the minority and say he did it, and it actually works so much more than you'd think it would.
Yeah, they'll buy it.
You don't even need proof, really.
I would sell it. I sold cocaine in college.
Ooh, coke. Did that ever get you pussy?
Yeah, it did well.
There we go.
I mean, it always works.
Upstate college.
Yeah, where?
Upstate college, Buffalo.
Yeah,
so there's a kid actually from Queens.
That's some hefty whores up there. That's a lot of lines you got to take. That's not a New York City line you got to take down to get pussy. That's a 185 gal. You just got a fat, thick rail. You're like, geez, take it easy.
There all the people that I would sell to were all in like a fraternity or a sorority that I knew. So it was like there was probably a group of like
that's always the best
400 kids.
Yeah,
and it was it seemed safe. You know, looking back on it, it wasn't smart.
Who was your connect? How'd you get?
There's a guy from Queens. Somebody put me in touch with him, and I think he was selling to other colleges. But then he would come up to Buffalo, and somehow I got his information, and then he would drive it up from Queens.
Wow.
His name was Mike. Never got his last name.
Yeah.
And he would give me a quarter pound of Coke, and then I would sell him. I'd just bag it up, and I'd sell them as grams or like 20 bags, and then you just be, you know, every basically 3 weeks he would drive up again.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
That's a nice little. What every re-up get you? How much? What would you make off a quarter?
Probably, I think it was something like the whole an ounce would sell for like $2,300, and I was wind up getting it for about like $700.
Yeah,
that's nice.
So and then you can do that every 3 weeks. You know, per ounce, you're doing pretty good.
That's not. And I'm guessing your studies. You didn't care about your studies too much at the time, or what?
No, I didn't care. I mean, I was making. I felt like I was like loaded.
Yeah,
you know,
of course,
especially in college.
Dude. Oh my god.
And then my mom, she didn't have any money, so like, and I was at a state school, so there wasn't like much of a tuition. But like, as far as like spending money, I'm like, oh, I could go out to a bar. I could just spend money.
This is so much better than being poor.
Oh, absolutely. You're like, whatever. But then you have to decide, like, do I want to continue to do this after college?
I love the idea that you could.
It's funny. It's like,
Like, do I go pro?
I'm making good money. I'm like, how do I become Mike?
Yeah. Well, the answer is I mean, it's like going up that ladder is scary.
Yeah.
The bottom of the drug ladder, like one step above the absolute bottom.
Because I can just give somebody up.
It's great. Exactly. Yeah. Well, no, not that. I mean, you're not even close to anything like that. Yeah. Where it's like, I mean, that is kind of. You're right, Mike. You could have gone, but I just mean like where you are, you're probably not getting caught. You know what I mean? You're selling to college kids. Like, I mean. They get caught, then you're fucked because they're immediately snitching. But you're selling to within a circle of people. You're not really in any kind of deal that's scary. It's some guy you know who's just going to give you.
Right.
Maybe he rips you off
once. You
once.
did a close call once, right? Didn't you?
Yeah. So my roommate at the time, we went up to like Toronto, and my roommate at the time, he like, I guess, locked himself out of the apartment like a few days before we left for Toronto, and he climbed through our window to get into our apartment. And this fraternity lived across the street, and they saw him get into our apartment in this way. He like moved the garbage can, got into the window, and then so we came back from Toronto, and we had an alarm, and it was going off, and I go into my my room, and it's like my door is knocked off the hinges, and this plate I had that I would chop up Coke with, it was just like out. And my laptop was missing. They didn't find the Coke, which was hidden actually in my laptop case. And
get the fuck out of here!
And I had like $8,000 that was hidden in like this laptop case also. God. And but yeah, and then I go to my roommate.
Wait, this frat just robbed you of your laptop?
Yeah, because they knew that we were like up in Toronto, and then they just took whatever they could get.
But they didn't know you were a Coke guy?
They knew I was a Coke dealer. That's why.
So what? But they just didn't find the cocaine?
They didn't find the cocaine.
So they're like, all right, we'll take the laptop.
Yeah, they took the laptop.
Our neighbor, the guy across the street.
Yeah.
That's so weird that frat bros didn't do the right thing. It's really strange.
Yeah.
They came back and raped you.
Like the frat.
They're like, in your Brit, you're like, my Brita filter, the water looks cloudy. Well, I'm really thirsty from coming back from Toronto. Glug, glug, glug. And then you just wake up, the guy's fucking your mouth.
So
where's the cocaine, Gary?
So I was pissed because I just started writing jokes. Like, just started. I was oh, let me like. Can I get my laptop back at least? I knew who did it, but like I never got it back. But
you knew they had it.
There's nothing
we
funnier
had this
than
alarm going off, and I said to my roommate, I'm like, not only did this guy show them how to break in, but I'm like, so the alarm's going off. Why aren't like the cops here?
Yeah.
And he goes, I forgot to pay the bill for the alarm company. And I'm like, but that kind of saved me too, because the cops would have came in and
searched everything,
and they would have seen a plate full of cocaine.
Someone came in here and left cocaine, took a laptop and left cocaine.
I would have had nothing. So that would have been the chance of like, all right, you know, and it's cops in Buffalo. I think cops want to like fuck with a college kid.
Yeah,
so they would take advantage of that.
Well, that's what I was gonna say.
I got fucking handcuffed in college by cops, and they had a field day with me.
Dude,
they loved it.
There's no because like a campus cop is kind of the perfect intersection of like mall cop insecurity with real cop power. And it's like, and then you give them college kids who it's like no one respects and no one should. It's perfect for a megalomaniac cop.
I dodged a similar bullet where I was a freshman just smoking a blunt on the street in New Orleans with college kids, and we're just we're getting high, we're drunk, whatever. The cops pull up. It's like, what do you think's happening outside of fucking
It's New Orleans,
But we're getting pretty baked, and they handcuff all of us. We're in like a back alley. They're going through all of our shit. I was a aspiring comic. They pull my joke book out.
I remember this story.
Yeah,
yes.
and they start reading my bits, and they sucked. I fucking stunk. So they're just laughing at me, and then.
But because of that, they didn't check your ass for the rest of the week.
No, what actually happened was they were like, after like torturing me for a couple minutes, all the fucking kids are laughing at how shitty my jokes are. They let us go, and one of the kids goes, "I had coke on me."
Wow.
So we dodged a bullet.
By being such a shitty open micer. Yeah, dude.
I was a bad comedian.
But it is funny, like even I guarantee you the bits that were lost were like some of the worst bits of all time.
Yeah, I know.
That first 6 months you start comedy, you're like, no one can steal. I remember the time being like, Robin Williams is an unforgivable piece of shit. Because I'd heard a rumor that he had stolen someone's jokes. I'm like, if somebody did that to me, my art, and I'm like, dude, I'm like, my jokes about being too fat to wipe my own ass, no one will take those from me. It was
Robin Williams steals it. He's like, nah, I'm good.
Oh, Mom, my ass is dirty. Oh, I have to clean it.
I would jot so much stuff
I would love to
but that was like so precious to me. Those like whatever was in that laptop. And I was like, damn, that like I wouldn't even care about like at that moment I was like, I didn't care about the coke. I was
that's
like,
so funny.
About that.
That's how wrong our
personal though. It's like your intimate thoughts. So it's not just your jokes, but you're just like, this is like it's almost like when you see someone looking over at your notes and you're like, what are you doing?
Yeah. This is an extension of my mind.
Yeah, but it's nothing.
Yeah.
That way the guy who stole my laptop, that's Mark Norman.
You got it.
You were like, talk weird your whole life. That was the one thing it said. Talk in a way you don't really talk, but now you've done it so long, I think you do actually talk that way now. You had written that.
He's just there like.
That's crazy that you were that close to going down.
Yeah, that happened.
But I mean, you also would be the scare. Like you are in a safe place, but if any danger happens, you're so fucked at that level of drug dealing. I remember because I sold weed in Baltimore City in high school, and it was like my friend. I bought the weed from my friend's brother, who we went to like the magnet school, and his brother was clearly the first draft son. That his dad, it was a brother from a different marriage. His dad had not gotten it right, and this kid was like. If I wasn't friends with his brother, I literally like bought weed from this guy in my like school uniform in my mom's Dodge Caravan, and it was like that guy could have robbed me at any moment, and I would have done absolutely nothing about it. You know what I mean? And there was one time where I was like, should I sell cocaine? I mean, I got this weed thing. And then my friend was like, we were talking about buying cocaine, and he was like, all right, so I'm just going to go grab a couple guns, and we'll be ready to go. And I was like, you know what, man? I actually decided I'm good on this.
I
actually decided as soon as guns come out, like one kid had gotten like he had a heart issue and he won a huge settlement, and he was like, dude, I'm going to invest my money. I'm going to buy cocaine. He was like, do you want to get in on this with me? And I was like, and then our other friend who had just been selling cocaine, we're like, the three of us will pool our resources together. And I'm like, which one of us is getting robbed if I go into these two? Which of the three of us is getting his 10 or whatever, 5,000, whatever like money I had pooled up? It's probably even less than that. It's probably like $2,000 of like all my weed. Who of us is getting robbed out of the three of us? The hardened already cocaine dealer, the 6'8" kid with a heart condition that lives in this neighborhood, or me, or the fat white guy with rosy cheeks? Hey fellas, let's get this. Let's not fuck up our re-up, right guys? Just like Gucci Man says. So I was like, once guns were mentioned, I was like, what the fuck am I doing? But it's crazy because you're so close to like anyone will like. I mean, you're a cute little guy. I can't believe you didn't get robbed more.
Well, that's what I was kind of going with, where it's like they wouldn't suspect at me as being the dealer. Yeah. So I was like, oh, that.
But why didn't coke heads rob you? Is my question. Guess you were a nice guy.
I think it's like It
Well, he did get robbed.
It was a fraternity. Yeah, got robbed, but never like jumped or anything like that, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
I guess it was just the environment where it's like, you know, Buffalo, where it didn't get around to the group of kids that would actually rob you.
Of course.
Because I mean that group of kids obviously existed.
Totally.
It's just that they didn't know about it.
Yeah.
I never did coke ever.
That's crazy. We've talked about that. It's insane to grow
Sam?
up to grow up in Manhattan and not do cocaine.
I knew a kid who jumped out of a 30-story building when we were young, so I was like,
that's enough to scare you.
He did enough coke that I was like, all right, I'm out.
Damn, how old was he?
He was like 9th grade or something.
9th grade doing coke?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. I'm gonna guess something else was going on.
I would assume so.
You know,
yeah, I guess coke gives you confidence, but if you want the confidence to kill yourself, that's fucking bad. Right?
Wait,
wow, the one guy to follow through on his cocaine ideas. I should kill myself tomorrow. It's like, why tomorrow? Let's do it right now.
Coke just always scared me though, and like, you know, the fucking
of course it's scary.
So Lem Bias, that story growing up, obviously, and then. And also the coke people were just their vibe was not.
Yeah, no, I agree.
No, it's crypto people to me now. I'm like, you're not making me want to do this shit.
No. I don't usually vibe with the same thing in my school. Nobody actually did. You either sold cocaine or you sold honestly crack, or you smoked weed, or you were like, it really was like a rich. There was also like a class thing to me where I was like, it was the annoying rich kids that did cocaine, and I was like, I don't want to be like these motherfuckers. I'm a weed guy. I'm a fucking legalize it weed guy. It was also cooler. I mean, it wasn't, but it was like weed hadn't fully. It was still illegal. It wasn't like not dangerous. It wasn't as lame as it is now. I'm sure it was. I'm still listening to like Sublime and pretending to like Bob Marley more than I do to like be a cool guy. You know what I mean? But it wasn't like. So there was still, anyway.
The weird thing about when you're doing coke is that you think that if you start doing it, I remember I was doing it like on Tuesday, like these were the nights to go out in school, was like Tuesday, Friday, and Saturday. So I'd do it those 3 nights, and I did it for like maybe like 3 months at like that rate, a few nights a week, and you think that everybody else is also doing it. And then you go out and you like talk to somebody and you're like, and they're like, you too? And they're like, no, what are you talking
it's
about?
Tuesday.
It's like I
mean, I know it's Buffalo, but
I know.
fuck, come
like,
and chill,
get your
dude.
life together.
Well, this is
that.
so that's fascinating though. So whatever you're selling coke and stuff, but where I'm interested too in going backwards a little bit about your dad, where it's. I also like that we have everyone here has a weird father.
Yeah,
everyone here has a fractured relationship with their biological father.
That's what connects us.
Yeah,
you just know it.
Yeah, that's crazy. Eldest's dad by default it's a toss up between mine and your dad about who's a better dad, but it's a bad. It's like when Michael Carter Williams won Rookie of the Year. That's a real deep cut for NBA guy. That's a good joke if you like the NBA. But that's a tough one. Four bad dads in the room. But
mine didn't even stick around. I mean, but
your
mine
dad did. That was the problem.
No, this is a good case study. Yeah,
I got a good stepdad.
You got a great stepdad. He's your actual dad.
But I mean. The blood, the nature versus nurture thing, it's a good question.
Yeah.
What do you want?
Yeah.
When you got a shit dad, do you want them to stick around?
Right.
Or are you better off if they leave, right?
Yeah.
Probably better if they leave for sure.
Yeah.
And not that my dad. I'm glad. I guess I'm glad. I don't know I still have to investigate my feelings about my father. But so your parents were like. So you have how many kids? How many siblings do you have?
2 older sisters.
2 older sisters. So you're the baby.
Baby. So when my middle sister left for college, I was the only one in my house with them, and I was like, "Fuck!" I'm not gonna be able to make it. It was because they were just arguing so much. It was so bad.
But they stayed together.
They stayed together. Stayed together, and then by the time I was a sophomore in high school, I was like, I need to like get out of here, and I played ice hockey, so I knew a couple kids that went to a boarding school. So I was like, how do I get over there?
Wow, you sent yourself to a boarding school?
I figured out how to get out.
Jesus Christ.
I filled out the paperwork for it.
Wow.
My parents finally agreed on something, and they agreed to send me away. And then so I only had to see them 4 times a year outside of
really? That's not. Would you go to a shitty one, or what is it? Those seem expensive.
Yeah, well. my dad conned his way in. Said that he always had money, but he would always deny how much money he had. So he would. I got in on like financial aid apparently.
Beautiful. That is awesome.
And of course, at times they would threaten me to that they'd have to toss me out of school because he wasn't paying.
Yeah,
still. But like it wasn't like a full ride of financial aid. So the little money that he did have to pay was always like a thing. So you're a kid where like, your dad hasn't paid the bill, so it's like, and then you like call home and like, hey, can you like pay? It's like where times I didn't want to talk to him, but you need your parents still.
It's also like
you have no money.
You get evicted. Yeah. Not only can you not go to school, it's like, well, this is also where you live. Yeah. It's like they just send you on the streets. What was his thing? Like they just grew up together. Like what was the thing about your parents? Did they get together young?
I mean, he met her. I guess when he was in his 20s, like right out of almost about to be out of college, and he was just running a con himself at the time where he was stealing exams in college and selling them, and he made a ton of money off of it. Where he was able to buy my house in Dix Hills. Yeah, that's how much money. That's how much money he was making off
college
of
exams.
Yeah, he was selling them.
What a
for
beautiful
$400 a pop.
Nice.
It's crazy. And then he.
That's a lot of money, dude. You're talking about inflation. This is the 80s.
This is 1979, 1980.
Wow.
Yeah,
$400 a pop.
Yeah.
Wow.
So and I remember asking him, I'm like, how much money did you make off of that? And he goes, more than the professors in college. That's how much money I was making.
Teaching's a scam.
Yeah.
What are his parents like? Do you know your grandparents at all? Were they like?
They came from Czechoslovakia and Russia, and then so like I get they were nice people, but it's like they were trying to survive and they didn't have a lot of money, and just like I feel like kids in like the 60s, like you're always going to be sneaking on the subway, things like that, doing these little things, cutting school, but my dad was just the guy who would just go farther than that. He would just keep going. He would push it to the limit.
I could see that. I guess I also knew. I feel like you probably also knew like the foreign parents that were so oblivious because of the like culture difference that you could really you could get away with a lot, even in like I'm obviously younger than your dad, but like even in the like 90s with foreign parents, I had friends who like got away with crazy shit whose parents just were not plugged into America at all. So back then it's like fresh foreigners in the 60s with just
my buddy was from Iran, and at 15 he was driving just his car, like he was visiting me in boarding school, driving up there. I'm like, I don't think you could do this. Then my parents gave me the car. I'm like, all right.
That's fucking awesome. Any other cons that you're aware of that your dad was pulling?
So
he
had, so after he's obviously left college, and then he went into the furniture business, and for years he would have this furniture business that seemed like it was on the up and up, but he wasn't sending furniture to certain people. So over time, it's not the greatest con.
How about this? It's more I keep the money and don't give them anything.
But how do you get away with that? How do you?
He got away with it for a long time until it's like enough people complain. It's like you could. They
didn't have Yelp back then.
Yeah, no, they really didn't.
The Better Business Bureau. So it's like that's who would field the complaints. So you could really just be like, a couple. You got your couch. You could argue it. It's like, what are these people going to do? So he would just keep doing that over and over again, but only to like certain people. Eventually that like got the attention of the Better Business Bureau, and then the Attorney General got involved. Apparently this was over like $100,000
Attorney General
that back then in the 80s that he like stole. And there was a big like news article for it. There's other things like I heard about that he stole, like he worked for like an accounting firm, and he was a power of attorney for somebody.
My God.
And he stole over $400,000, and he got arrested in the office. Yeah. And this was stuff like, there's certain things where it's like I couldn't prove because it's so far back. Yeah. But these are things that like would come up when I'd be like interviewing different people and be like,
how do you not get the shit kicked out of you? How do you not get like,
Well, those are things like he was asked, like I had somebody that I interviewed where he goes, let me start with this, is that one time we would go to Hershey Park, and we went to Hershey Park, and my dad was on the ride at Hershey Park, and there's like the Velcro strap that was part of the ride just like broke off, and he got off the ride and he starts complaining about his ribs, goes to the hospital and everything, winds up suing Hershey Park and made $50,000 off of this. So after that, we're like, this is what I believe my entire life happened. After that, I'm like, I'm interviewing a cousin recently for the podcast, and he goes, "You remember that thing that happened to your dad at Hershey Park?" Well, oddly enough, I was talking to him maybe a few years back, and I asked him, I'm like, "Did you ever get roughed up?" And he goes, "Yeah, one time back in the '90s, I got punched so hard I broke one of my ribs." And my cousin was the one. He's like, "Well, isn't that the same exact time as like the Hershey Park thing?" So he went. So in my cousin's mind, he went to Hershey Park with these broken ribs, and then made this whole thing up so he could get a payout off
fully. I believe that.
Yeah,
a scammer sees a silver lining. It's like, wow, a guy finds out you've been stealing his pension and he kicks the shit out of you. Hershey Park's paying for this.
That's so funny because even like your childhood memories to an amusement park, it's tainted by him doing a con. Isn't that crazy?
Were you ever a part of any other cons? I mean, the big con obviously is the Sports Illustrated kid, but did he ever use you in any?
The only other things would be like we would go if we. I remember we were in a car once. It got hit from behind, and it's like. He's like, my neck hurts, your neck hurts too, right?
Yeah,
it's just like, so then you go in and you
insane.
So you could file a claim with Geico. Every time we would go to the movie theater, never. I mean, it's little, but it's like you're always sneaking in. You're never not going to pay for a ticket, and it's like, can we pay for a ticket? It's the same thing as like, can you be my dad?
Of course.
Can you pay for a ticket? And I'm like, he's like, no, Gary. He's like, you got to sneak under the ropes, and I'd sneak under the ropes, and I'd be like down like the hallway, and then he'd go up to the usher, and he'd be like, my kid's over there. Look, he's the one who has our tickets, and then my dad would get in too for free. And it's like, I mean, we did this. We of course we'd see all his movies. I saw Child's Play at 5 years old.
Oh my God! He's not even taking to see
Child's Play, Tremors, Rambo. I mean, these are the movies that he's taking me to go see.
What else? You had some others.
What the fuck?
Oh yeah, me and Beverly Hills Cop. It's like everything. It's like.
Did he ever use your sisters in a con? Do you know?
As far as I know, it's like it would just be little stuff. It's like my sister, she talks about this, but she got hit with a lacrosse stick. She was running track and she was on the road. They were doing like a cross country training thing, and these kids came by in high school and just like whacked her with like a lacrosse stick. Like kids was like fucking with her. And my father,
that's kind of wild for fucking with someone.
Hears that this happened to his daughter, and also probably because he wants a payout. And he used to drive a Chevy Caprice, which could be looks as an unmarked cop car. So my father found out which was the kid that did this, and he drives to this guy's house, finds exactly where he lives, waits for this kid to leave, and then pulls him over in his Chevy Caprice. And
did he have a fake little
interrogates this kid?
Did he have the fake?
He had a light on the side, but that came with the car.
Oh, really?
So he didn't have like a fake light or anything. But he would pass himself off as a cop.
Yeah.
Pull this kid over. I guess basically like threatened him, saying that he knows what he did.
Yeah.
But he also found out where this family lives, and then my sister got to pay out in the lawsuit because he wanted to make sure that this family had money too. So
it's like a Jewish gangster.
Yeah.
It's like Goodfellas, but instead of roughing people up, he's like, "I'll find a way. I'll find a way to
we'll
get
see
you to
how
court."
liquid you are. Let's see if this litigation is worth it.
Yeah, he lived in court. He would do anything.
Really?
Yeah.
So
did the judges start to know him?
As far as I know, no one's ever said that. But I mean, I assume that it's like. You could just, I guess they can't look up somebody's history. It's like one lawsuit is completely different than the next.
Yeah, I mean, this really is a guy that survives off of. This type of guy it's not possible to be this guy right now anymore. You can't be a scammer like this anymore because so much of it, he existed in the cracks where there was no connection between stuff. Like even that furniture scam, he could just call and be like, they can call him and they're like, well, it says here you have to take it up with the UPS. You're calling everyone. There's no websites to check.
And
there's no nothing. And it's a pain in the ass. And he's taking advantage of how annoying everything is. And there's no way to check. Like if anyone just took the time to check what your dad did, I bet he could also tell who would be the kind of person to do that. Right? So fascinating, damn. And obviously you don't spoil it, but I do wonder what a guy like that is up to these days.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing. Yeah, trying to figure out like why did he make those decisions, and then it's like, will he be willing enough to like talk on the podcast? And, and
well, no
him?
spoilers. I haven't listened to it. No. No, he's living off some dumb bitch right now because all his scams have dried up. That's what I'm picking. I just like to put
President Biden.
Yeah.
That's a twist.
Now look, I might be wrong, folks. That's just, listen to the podcast and see was Stav right? Was he wrong?
The weird thing about the podcast is like I'm not like an investigative reporter by any means.
Yeah,
so I have to use my like dumbness to like try and figure things out. I'm
That
like
is
Googling
really
like
funny.
everybody else.
Well, it's funny that you kind of are now, though. He got you in as being a reporter, and now you're a fucking reporter.
Yeah.
When he left, did your mom ever remarry or anything like that? Or?
Yeah, she remarried, and then she, this is like such a tough thing for her for me to like be doing because it's like she just doesn't
she
want
wants to bury it all.
Yeah, she wants to bury it all. She, so that's the
whatever
hard thing about
honestly,
I relate to that too. My mom was not thrilled when I met my biological father, but there's not much you can say.
Guess what?
Yeah.
Hey, don't let him nut inside you, ladies. And then
those weren't my exact words, but I was like, Mom, it's your fault he came in you. So I don't know what the problem is.
But for real, I mean, it's crass, but truly, that's a form of selfishness on the mom. Because like I struggle with this too.
She didn't say don't meet him. She just was like, I could tell it upset her.
Of course,
I don't think it was her trying to be selfish, but
I'm not saying your mom. I'm just saying like I struggle with that too. Of like when one parent is clearly worse.
Yeah.
The other parent did let them get away with that and put you in that position. So whatever you have to do to get over that, they just got to live with, right? Like I'm just saying that because I struggle with like giving my mom maybe too much of a pass. Because with my parents, it was like my dad clearly was the worst one, but it's like my mom enabled all that behavior and like, he was in the house.
I agree. Blame women. I think.
So the point is stand up. Don't let him nut inside you and stand up to him or shut the fuck up. All right, well, hey, look, that's as good a point as any to get into our advice. That's so fascinating, Gary.
It's incredible.
I can't wait to listen to the podcast because just talking to you about it is so... Because, like, people come on here and it'll be like, shit, I don't get... It's like my friends will be like, yeah, no, I'll watch your fucking special. I will actually... Well, I'll watch both your specials, but I'm so interested to listen to that. Just as anyone else. Like, even if it wasn't my friend, it's like, that's fascinating. Like, a con man, just like a small-time con man.
Small-time con man. Like, I'm not passing him off. He's not Bernie Madoff, but also...
He did make off.
Yeah, exactly. But as far as I know, he didn't get... caught ever.
Yeah.
So it's like,
wow.
What is it better to be the guy who like went all out, went so far ahead to get caught, and now you're in jail at the end of your life, or is it better to be the guy who just was
who never learned a lesson?
Yeah.
Well, he never had to. Yeah, but
and then what happens to those guys? Because yes, they don't learn their lesson, right? But eventually, your life. I mean, look, the clock's ticking on your life.
Well, he doesn't talk to me, doesn't talk to my sisters. Yeah. So it's like, what's better?
Exactly.
Like, was it good to live that way?
Totally. It's fascinating of like, let's say you don't get caught, but what are the consequences of it? And oftentimes I do think, look, the main guys, yes, those are interesting stories, the Madoffs, whatever, but it's like, they're also pretty cut and dry.
Yeah.
But the smaller guys are more interesting because it's like they have way more eccentricities. Big time crooks, they're just the same as billionaires where it's like they just have that pathological need to make more and more and more and take and take and take. Whereas these guys are like, you don't know what makes them tick. Right. What the fuck? It's a weird way to behave.
He got off online for sure.
Yeah.
I think how you're right about a guy like Madoff or some of these big Ponzi scheme guys. This is like a small time thing. So he's hands on. He's literally lying. He's not lying on a phone call. He's lying to your fucking face.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
and the psychology of that. But that's what I mean. It's much. To me, it's fascinating to like for all aspects of it. I mean, the way Goodfellas, if you think about it, Goodfellas is about a small. Henry Hill is not even made.
Yeah.
He's an associate. Like that's a much more fascinating character than, the bosses, all bosses, all whatever figureheads, they're the same if we're really boiling it down to it. They have different eccentricities and whatever, but it's about blind ambition. With the guys in the middle and bottom, it's like, damn, being a small fish in this ruthless type of life is fascinating. So
yeah, it's like if you
I'm excited.
If you look at it, like I think he had a front of the line mentality. He just was like, how do I don't want to wait in the back at the movie theater. I want to get I want to get ahead of the line, on opening night. I want to figure out how do I get myself up there, and I think that's how he approached everything. If I go to the pizza place, I want the owner to know who I am, so I could get free slices for me and my kid.
Right.
The other thing he would always do. So he had a payphone business, and part of the payphone business,
just all these things that don't exist.
Yeah,
and that
exactly.
it's like, and they don't exist because of guys like this.
Yeah,
anything that your dad was doing shouldn't exist anymore.
But he knew phone.
He had a Beanie Babies con.
He would go to Blockbuster and just put frozen discs of human shit and How to Lose a Guy in 10. Every fourth How to Lose a Guy in 10 DVDs was one of Gary's dad's frozen shit.
He would take you to the Wiz and just reaching now.
But yeah, he would find a way where any type of thing that he would do, like the small time crook, where it's like a Bernie Madoff. It's money. It's hedge funds. Like, yes, my dad seemed like he was after money, but he's also just after the rush of a free thing, how to pull one over on somebody. It's in every conversation that he's had. How can he scam somebody right now?
It is honestly, I've heard the first ep. It's produced like a funny 30 for 30.
Yeah,
it's like cool. So highly produced and so well done, and there's cool music. It's incredible, man.
I'm pumped.
I think it's going to turn into a show or a movie at some point.
It should.
It's awesome.
Hey, you need someone to play your fat piece of shit father.
That's pretty good. For sure. Yeah, that's pretty good.
I would love to play.
And I'll play the lieutenant trying to catch him.
Yep. We have a love triangle with young Gary. We're rewriting everything. Great point, my friend, who's on this podcast right now. I just want to take a break from our riveting conversation to highlight the listeners of this show, because we've told them over and over again, hey, give us a 5-star review. And some of them will do it through the kindness of their hearts, but others, they need attention. And we're here to give it to them. So what we're going to do here occasionally on this program, when we don't have a mid-roll advertisement, we will highlight some of our favorite 5-star reviews. You'll get on here if you're witty, you keep it quick, and it's 5 stars. Take the 4 stars and shove them. I don't want to hear, this is North Korea media as far as I'm concerned. And listen, you can trash us. You can trash me and Eldis, but give us 5 stars. Trash us personally, say something nice about the show and give us 5 stars. You can be on it. We prefer if you didn't. Here, for example, our friend Joel Ocasio says, maybe some connection to Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez, who knows. Best show he's ever heard. Stavvy baby could bang my girlfriend if I had one. This is the only show that I am checking my phone every 10 minutes the day of an episode is to come out. Sounds like Eldis needs to be doing a little better with the uploads. Love it. Keep doing it. And if you ever make a movie, please use an all-Albanian indentured servant crew for the set. Yeah, right. And the fucking cameras go missing overnight. Nice thinking. But thank you for that 5-star review. Here's one from Skolnia, the best comedian podcast right now. Wow, that makes us feel good. Listening to this show as a balding man has given me the confidence to grow my hair out. That's what I like to hear. No one has a better time with guests and gives incredible life advice while being funny. I even love Eldis and his incompetence. Hey, it's shocking how good Eldis is. This show, the fact that this show comes out at all is incredible. He really pulls it off. Here's one from Han Jason. I peed. One of the best podcasts. Are You Garbage episodes insanely funny. Love those boys. My coworkers now think I have a disability or I'm on lots of drugs from laughing so hard. Well, that's what we can hope for, is that your coworkers think you're fucked up on the job thanks to this podcast. Thank you for those 5-star reviews. Do we have any more? That's it for this ep. One more? Sure, Just Too Drunk. Without question, the best podcast out there. Stavvy is witty, funny, and incredibly easy to binge. Jeez, Jess, thank you. Best Patreon out there as well. Only $5 a month. You get exclusive episodes ad-free. That's correct. One of the only comedians I can not recognize the first name of and decide to listen to anyways. Stavvy introduced me to so many incredible comedians and puts them on. I do like doing that. A real comedian's comedian. If I can go back in time, it would be to when I found Stavvy's World. Eldis, you rule. Now that's beautiful. Eldis does rule. And thank you for putting an organic plug to the Patreon in there too. We're just doing this to get 5-star reviews. But hey, if you want to sign up for the Patreon, Just Too Drunk, they are right about that. We also have a great Patreon, and we don't miss. We've never in almost, is it over 2 years? How long have we been doing this? A year and a half?
think it'll be 2 years this fall or winter. Or
2 years, yeah, that's right. 2 years in December.
Yeah.
In a year and a half, we haven't missed an upload ever. We've been late like only a handful of times.
Yeah, sure. There's been a handful of 10 p.m. uploads.
Right. Eldest is on the day it comes out, it's come out at 11 p.m., which... Are you even doing it that day? Not really, but hey, he was probably on vacation and assured me it wouldn't affect his work quality. He could definitely find Wi-Fi in Hawaii. But either way, we've never taken a day off, and we won't. We record in batches so that the people have a steady stream of podcasts. But thank you for the 5-star reviews. Keep them coming. We love you. And now, what were we talking about, buddy? All right, let's get to some questions here, Eldest. What do you got going for us?
All right, motherfucker. I didn't know that beep was going to happen right
It's
away.
nice to be home when you fuck up the first call every time.
I sound like a dumbass.
Start it again.
I didn't know that beep was going to happen right away. I couldn't even get my thoughts for the last call. I sound like a dumbass.
Okay.
I'm not going to sound like a dumbass, brother. Listen, real quick, fire this off. Yo, I need your advice for this. What up, Stavvy? What up, Eldest? What up, guest?
How many times are you going to start?
I know. Love you, Stavvy. Love you, Eldest. Great pod. Congrats on the success. All that bullshit. Anyway.
Hate him already.
Here's the situation. I'm a straight man. My girlfriend's a straight woman. That's for context. Okay. I posted a UFC fighter who's really jacked on my Instagram story and said that he had the best physique in the UFC.
Okay.
My girlfriend said that it made her uncomfortable that I posted that and said it would have been like if she posted a dude on her story that she thought was hot. I said that wasn't the same thing because, like I said earlier, we're both straight, so I thought it would have been like if like some celebrity girl was looking hot and she posted on her story and was like, "Whoa, slay," or something like that. Like,
I think
that's what I would equate it to.
Okay.
So I didn't think like she had a reason to be uncomfortable. I still apologize, obviously. Like, I can't like say how she feels. If she felt uncomfortable, I'm not going to be a dickhead. So I apologize, and like it's all in the past. But I just want to know for myself, was that a shitty thing to do, or was it not a shitty thing to do, or not a big deal? Regardless, I'm not going to, if you say that I'm right, I'm not going to throw this back in her face. Like, I really don't care. Whatever. If I made her uncomfortable, I can't decide that. But I just want to know if it's a big deal or not. What do you think? Anyway, love the pod. Use this one instead of the last one. I sound like a dumbass.
All right,
I just ripped
stop
the pen
this.
in the last one. So
Eldest, let's file this under juice not worth the squeeze. It's 12 seconds of a good question with a minute and 45 seconds of hemming and hawing.
That was a lot.
Basically, the question is, I mean, he posts a picture of a UFC fighter who says he's got the best physique, and his girlfriend gets mad, gets jealous.
It's a weird thing to talk
Number
about.
one, your girlfriend's cheating on you. I mean, if her trigger is this light on jealousy, it's like, is she? Because that can happen. People that are hiding something can be ultra like touchy.
Yeah.
But this is crazy. I agree with you. First of all, it is hilarious. There is a type of like bodybuilding guy that is basically gayer than gay guys, where they just fucking salivate over like a guy's delts or traps or something. And like even like here's the thing, your girlfriend's wrong, but it is weird for you to be like, oh, look at this fucking Adonis. You know what I mean? Like unless
it's weird to say it. It's weirder to post it.
Yeah, you know what? Thinking best physique in the UFC. Listen, you can't help your thoughts. You can't help. You see this guy, he's ripped. You're like, damn, that's a fucking. What are you trying to accomplish by posting? Damn, this guy's fucking hot on your Instagram story.
And like,
that's crazy
we're
behavior.
all dudes that watch sports. I get it. You're watching a game occasionally, like Saquon was our running back for the Giants, so I'd be like, man, look at his legs.
Thighs.
I bet he's got a sweet dick. I love to suck it. You take it too far occasionally, but it's weird to post this.
The posting is really weird. I mean, look, is your girlfriend, are you technically right in terms of the equivalency?
Yeah.
Now, if what you're saying at the beginning that you are both straight people is true, then yes, you are. But some of
you're both hiding secrets.
Yeah. She's getting railed. You wish you were getting railed.
Yeah, I can't believe that she's bugs out on
That's
that.
weird. That's weird.
I mean, maybe it embarrasses her in a way.
Maybe it's not the sexual thing. Maybe she's just embarrassed.
She's like, this is corny posting.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. So anyway, you're right in that regard. But I would say, even if you're right, what is at the root of her behaving this way. Something's off here.
Yeah.
That's weird behavior to
That
be
is-
like, hey, how dare, that makes me uncomfortable that you said he had a great physique. Like, what?
Yeah.
You're probably gay, and she's probably cheating on you. I think that's probably the most.
If I had to bet money,
Yeah.
I would say you're gay and she's cheating on you. Yes, Sam, you're absolutely right. I love when we help people. Yep, that's it. Next question.
Yeah.
Hi, Stavvy. Hi, Eldest. Hello, if there's a guest right now. I'm just calling to get some male perspective advice because I don't really have any male friends besides, like, my friends' husbands who, like, they're going to see things differently because they're husbands and they've been with their wives since we were literal teenagers.
Oh, wow.
Also, I'm 25. Okay, so I have matched with a 33-year-old man on Tinder, and he told me I'm the only girl that he's talking to. But then when I go on his Tinder to, like, I only go on Tinder to look at his fucking Tinder, and then I see that he has added a new picture, and then I went on again, and he rearranged the picture.
That's
and then
awesome.
I had my friend's sister-in-law go on Tinder and set her age range to his age range, and it says that
Hold
he's
on,
active
pause
now,
this.
but
Yeah.
he told me
I mean, Jesus
What?
Christ, lady.
Wait, what?
This is a no one is right situation. Like, this is, anyway, that's great. Like, and then I actually installed a tracker on it. I actually installed a GPS tracker, and he's actually going to a different woman's house sometime. And I asked him if he was at work, and he said, yes, I am at work, but he was at the gym. And it's like, that's not, I guess that's a white lie, but like maybe he's having sex with a woman in there. Anyway, you're out of control, but keep going. Sorry.
And then I had my friend's sister-in-law go on Tinder and set her age range to his age range, and it says that he's active now, but he told me I'm the only girl he's talking to. Am I just being dumb if I believe that?
yes.
Like, that's
100
absolutely not true, even though he's totally made me feel like I'm special, totally
You're
made me
not.
feel like we're going to be boyfriend and girlfriend. Also, we've only been really...
You're not as awesome. Go back. Fuck.
Totally made me feel like we're going to be, like, boyfriend and girlfriend. Also, we've only been really, like, dating for, like, a week and a half.
Jesus
but
A week and a
Christ.
why
half.
would you tell me that if that's not true? Please give me advice because, yeah, I've only really dated men in their 20s, and this is my first, like, man who's, like, you know, in his 30s, so, like, a little bit older than me. I don't know how older men operate, if they even
Ageism.
differ in behavior or not. Please let me know.
Well, the
because
good
I
news is if
don't
he's in his
understand
mid 30s,
how
he's still
XY
dating
motherfuckers
20-year-olds.
work. Thank you.
He's not matured.
Yeah.
I think we can all
We all know
people
that
on
guy.
this.
I
We know.
know.
Yeah, we all know
I have
him.
a
We
friend
all are
who's much
him.
older. But that friend who's fucking way older dating the way young girl.
Oh,
and you're
yeah,
like,
yeah,
he's a fucking. We know what he's doing.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it's a slimy move. But this is. I mean, clearly How are you? As you're saying this, are you not like I'm fucking dumb?
I mean, here's
Yeah.
like I was saying before. It's like this is one of those where it's like, look, I feel for her, right? She's
Sure.
our friend. She called into our show.
Sure.
We're on her side. He is clearly, so yes, this is kind of scummy. This is a scummy move on his part to be like, you're the only girl I'm talking to. Which,
Yeah.
by the way, a week and a half. You've
Yeah,
been dating
so-
a week.
yeah.
And we've only been dating a week and a half. What does that mean? You've been on 2 dates. You've like kissed. Like, you know, I mean, maybe you're cool and you fucked immediately, but who cares? You know what I mean? Like, this is clearly in the very early stages of something. He's weird. He's being a weirdo by lying to you about just that you're the only girl that he's with. You're being out of control with all the checking. Like, you're looking at his pictures on Tinder.
She already doesn't trust him. That's the issue. Also,
But she's right to not.
I mean,
trust
she's
him,
right to not trust
Well,
him.
I
But
think what she's doing is obsessing, which is her. I think that's your problem, my friend. Is that she's getting in there a little too. She's throwing herself. And I wouldn't even say this is an age thing. This is more of like, how do you relate in dating? She would probably behave this way, whether the guy's her exact age, younger, older, whatever. If you really liked him, she's going and checking and just looking at his pictures. And it's, by the way, it's only been a week and a half and he's changed his Tinder 3 times. He's fucking updated his pics and rearranged shit. That's insane.
I also feel like it's a small town because she's on Tinder.
Yeah.
I feel like if you're in a bigger city, you're going like Hinge or Bumble or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. I actually don't really use the apps that much anymore. I do feel like Hinge is the main one now.
Yeah.
But who knows? Who's to say?
Who's to say?
But anyway, I think her problem is that she's obsessing here.
Yep.
Right? Where it's like way too quick to be gazing at this guy's pictures, whatever. Now, age does not have anything to do with if you're a dickhead to women or not, right? In fact, like I said, I think that the percentages might actually get higher the older you go, because the people that aren't married are either like, they're like, I just want to fuck as much as possible, or I think it becomes extremes where it's like someone who's really looking for a relationship versus someone who's like, I am decidedly not looking for a relationship. Whereas in your 20s, it's more of like a mixed bag, I feel like. So, I don't know, dude. I just feel like she's... And also, it's like he's made her feel special. He's made her feel like they're gonna be boyfriend and girlfriend. It's like...
That's his game. I mean, that, clearly it tricked her. And
that, here's the other thing, though. Yes, we have the evidence that he said, "Oh yeah, we're gonna. You're the only girl I'm talking to." But it's like, other than that, what has he been doing? And is our friend here easy to make feel special? Is my question. Like, is he doing that much? What the fuck did he really do to make you feel special?
Until you're in an exclusive relationship, which, like, are you after a week and a half?
Yeah, no.
Until you're in an exclusive relationship, he's got the right to be on there. Just don't fucking lie about it.
Exactly.
Just say I'm not looking for something yet, or something like that.
And if he hadn't said that, she is the one who's off base here.
Right.
Yeah.
But now it's almost like a push. Now it's like, well, he's been a dick to you, and you've been a little too already clingy, I guess is the word, or just too into this. So, but yeah, I think the thing is, you need to put your guard up a little more, is really what I would tell him.
Maybe don't respond to him for like, a little bit. Ice him out for just a little bit, wait to respond
You'll
back.
see where you stand quickly. You'll see how big the roster is. If you ice him out and he's like, all right, whatever, and then you're not, whatever. But if he actually...
Next woman up.
Next one up. We'll go to the bench. That's all right. We can replace most
how
of your...
available is this guy if he,
Right.
if he's out with this many women or whatever? So
Well,
it's like,
we
that's
also
one way to
don't
find-
know. Here's the other thing that's even actually maybe even sadder is that, like, he might be doing all this shit and not getting any other bites.
Right.
He might just be looking for other girls while he's kind of stringing this girl along, and he's just keeping his options open. And again, if he had said nothing about her being like, in fact, he might technically be right. He's not talking to other women because he's a loser, not because he's not trying to. He might not know other women are interested in him, but he never said, I'm not trying to talk. This motherfucker might be pulling a little Gary's dad move here.
Yeah.
And technically
Dad, is that you?
this is true con man shit where it's like, you're not lying, but you're not telling the truth either.
Still, you got to go back to the week and a half. It's like, you're basically asking him to settle down right away.
Week and a half's crazy.
Yeah, that's just
So
insane.
I would say, is it possible that he's technically not? Either way, he's trying to talk to other women, it seems like. You also need to settle down a little bit. You need to put your guard up a little bit and stay. It's sad that we have to say that, but that is the truth here. And just kind of like, don't get too. You said a week and a half. It's a little quick to be, doodling his name in your trapper keeper. So just chill out a little bit. Yes, he is probably. I would just be a little more suspicious, and just go into it. But still, it seems like you like him. None of this is like, stop seeing this guy. It's just.
Feel it out. I won't confront him either, because then you're going to sound nutty.
Don't confront him and just see how things go. If you feel like you're at the point where you want to be in an exclusive relationship, you can bring that up. And if he gives you some kind of runaround, he is just stringing you along. That's the thing.
But
it's
you
like,
also have to keep your guard up, because this dude might not be an honest guy.
Yeah, totally. Absolutely. I would say just feel it out.
Yeah.
Keep your bound. Don't fall for any tricks, because he's clearly been a little dishonest. But also, from your perspective, I think you need to pull back on the obsession over one good date.
Yeah. Do not confront him. That was a good advice.
Yeah. What the hell? My friend's stepsister got on Tinder, and you were on there. You've lost all your credibility if you hit him with that.
The private investigator had tailing you also gave me a very troubling report. So
who's this? She's got long lens photos of him like hugging his cousin at a farmer's market. Who the fuck is this? All right, next question, Big Eldo.
Stavvy, love you, buddy. Eldest, good job, but I don't really like you as a friend. Guess?
Wow, you hear that?
What's up, man?
Fuck you.
Can't wait to hear what you have to say. All right, so I got relationship problems with my parents, and I talk to my mom every day, and she's sweet as all be, and we get together for dinners once every 2 weeks or so when we can. She's super, super involved. And she's not married to my father anymore, but my father's like the complete opposite. Like, I won't hear from him for 3 months at a time, and we live in the same town, and, you know, I have to beg him 3 weeks in advance to do something for his birthday. And, like, recently I tried to get him on Snapchat so I could send him little snippets of my life and say,
man, this poor guy.
hey, here's what I'm doing. And the first thing he says is, don't blow me up or else I'm getting off the app. And so normally,
Holy fuck, your dad got your ass so good. That's fucking crazy. An app he only downloaded because you told him about it. He's like, hey man, I figured out you could get pussy off this app, so stop fucking my notifications up.
I let him do his thing. You know, I'm happy I have a full life. But recently he's been in the hospital a lot in the last 4 months. And there's been a couple times I talked to my sisters and said, like, we're looking at a potential death of this man. And, like, I know it will be sad, but it was just weird for me to imagine him dying and me being, like, not affected at all because I don't hear from him all the time. My day-to-day life would not change at all. And now he's always been super loving financially. And
Weird.
so I'm just wondering, should I try to continue to forge a relationship with a man who's pretty resistant socially to that, or should I just let it be? And, you know, if someone who's a stranger dies, and they die. So, can't wait to hear you.
Gary, you want to take this one?
This one hits home. He sounds like a great son.
Yeah.
The financial thing.
The financial thing is what threw me
Yeah,
off because
that really
everything
does.
before that I was like, fuck this guy.
Yeah.
But if he
does he maybe have like another family that like that seems like what it is.
That's
and,
interesting.
Like, and he just wants to live that life. That's what I would kind of say. Then he just wants to throw away this kid who's just too loving.
Yeah, yeah. Well, until the financial thing, for me, I was just like, well, fuck this guy. Who cares?
Yeah.
But if this guy, it sounds like, either second family where it's like, look, I have an obligation, so I'll pay for shit for you. But it's like, look, if this guy is just a distant rich, like, I think the financial thing is what's even tripping our friend up here because I feel like he feels a little guilty because his dad has provided for him in certain ways, and the ways that our caller thinks you should connect with someone or thank someone for that, his dad is completely resistant to. Mm-hmm. So I think this guy our caller has no idea how to really connect, and you want to connect in these ways, and it's clear he's not interested in that. You know what I mean? So it's like, but you also don't have to go from he's my best friend that I see every day and I Snapchat him every fucking half hour to, well, he's a stranger who's dead in a ditch. I don't give a fuck. Like, that's the thing. There's some middle ground here where it's like, no, man, you would be sad. It's your dad. We get that.
The
like
Snapchat threw me because I'm like, this guy's already socially inept when it comes to having a relationship with his son. Now you're making him download an app for like 20-year-olds.
Yeah.
Well,
We're too old for Snapchat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, dude, that's so. I don't know. I think that's what it is. Where, look, if your dad is somewhat in your life and he's not interested in these connections, that's it. But
I
if
say make a podcast about it.
yeah, yeah, dude. But if he's ever looking for something, make yourself open to it. He clearly doesn't have. He's not the same guy as your mom, bro. Clearly.
Well, he could have these conversations with his mom, but can you maybe, this is, I mean, for the last person we said not to confront this, but this is maybe something where we'd be like, I'd love to, sit with you if this guy could even have lunch now. Seems like his father's eating out of a straw. But if he can't, if his father could nod or whatever he could do right now, if he could
tap in Morse code.
If you could have that last conversation with him, just have it and just say, I would love to be a part of your life. Maybe go, confront it straight on and instead of just being like, all right, he dies and then I never got to say my feelings. Like let him say his feelings, like, because it sounds like he has to get some things off his chest.
Yeah, Yeah, I agree with that.
Dad, you changed your Snapchat photo. And I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, what happened to our
you,
Snap streak?
You downloaded it for me. Yeah, this is that stuff's tricky, especially when the health starts to go. I mean, it's very tricky, man. I don't know. I would maybe do your best to just be loving at this point, because I don't know.
Also, but here's the other thing. Temper your expectations.
Yeah.
This is not a guy that you're going to have this, like, heart-to-heart, it changes everything. Like, I'm in a position now where I'm trying to reconnect my relationship with my father, right? He's never going to be, and me and Elders have talked about this too. I know you've had a similar experience where you're just like, you know what? We're never going to have the traditional father-son fucking play catch, whatever. But
You still want to play catch with your dad?
I want to play catch, dude. I want to play catch with my dad.
Come on, Dad.
I have a bad
Give me your
shoulder.
fastball.
We've both had shoulder. We've both torn ligaments in our arms. We're just both like the most pathetic two grown men with the worst form you've ever seen in your life. That's never going to happen. But can you find some other thing you'll relate to him in a different way? And I'm struggling with it personally, but I'm making the effort. I think Elders, you've talked about it before, where it's like,
I think it's like Gary just said, like, when your parent is dying, like, now's the time to just say whatever you want to say to them. But also, yeah, like, you do have to temper your expectations, and, like, your dad's old as fuck. He's starting to die. Like, he's not going to change a lot. He'll probably just, like, grow more and more distant. So it's like, it's like, come to terms with that and, decide if, like, that makes you feel bad and if you want to cut him out of your life, or just, like, manage your expectations so that he's basically, like, a funny old guy friend that you have in your life who you don't expect much from.
Yeah.
But it's, like, kind of cute when he eats applesauce and watches TV with you and shit like that. So I think, like, and there's still something to that.
Absolutely.
Just like being there for your parent, and I don't know. It's all like complicated. I kind of went through this shit with, like, my dad, and it's like, there is no like, perfect or ideal, like, parent relationship or something, and you just got to work with what you got if you care enough to.
That's a great point. It's like, yes, you'd like to cook it's Christmas and you'd like to cook a nice roast, a nice ribeye roast with some potatoes, but you open up the cupboards, all you have is Cheese Whiz, a fucking stale tortilla, and some ham, and you're like, all right, well, I'm gonna fucking microwave this shitty tortilla.
Ham and cheese do kind of go together.
Yeah. I'm gonna wrap up the whiz, I'm gonna scrape the mold layer on top off, get the underneath it's still good, and I'll make a little wrap. You know what I mean? You didn't get a fucking steak dinner, Dad. You got a fucking shitty Cheese Whiz ham and cheese, Dad, and that's fine.
I think the way the rom-com has kind of set up these unrealistic expectations for women, movies have done that too with guys and their dads.
I'm really jealous of that. I'm instantly jealous of that take.
Fucking Star Wars. They fucking made it work.
Oh, Star Wars! Darth Vader's chopping Luke's head off. Are you kidding me?
You're expecting this powerful moment of just like, I love you, son. I love you, Dad. That's not life.
No,
it's not how life works. I mean, they might say I love you, but it's not going to be clean, man. It's like.
Yeah,
I think you just got to lower your expectations and hope for the best. And hopefully, sometimes before people die, they do have, like, this moment where they...
But even that's fucking corny. It's like...
Yeah.
Oh,
it's like
now
you're coming around.
Oh, you have to be a good dad for 45 more seconds, and that's what you're going to fucking do.
Rosebud.
Anyway, so good luck, buddy. But yeah, I think definitely it lies somewhere between he's your best friend and he's a stranger. That's what I would say. What else we got, little LD?
I'm going to do our first ever two-parter call.
Okay.
That takes up 2 voicemails.
Okay, you're on thin ice. I hope this pays off.
This could be dicey.
That means we're guaranteed at least 4 minutes of a call. Is that correct?
That's right.
3 minutes?
That's part 1. So,
wow.
Eldest, let's give him the rope to hang himself
It's like the fucking
with.
Lord of the Rings of calls. Let's do this. All right.
This better be good.
Hey, Stavvy, long time, first time here. So I got a very sticky situation on my hand. About 17 years ago, I was in the Army, stationed in Fort Carson, Colorado. If you don't know, it's in Colorado Springs, Colorado, which isn't the best area. And one night, hooked up with a chick, didn't use any protection, fully busted inside, I will admit. I was a young, stupid man.
Damn, dude.
Come to find out a couple months later, she's pregnant.
Pause it. Dude, the full bust inside a stranger?
No.
That's like a girl I've been dating who's like showed me her birth control. I'm nervous to bust inside.
Yeah.
You bust inside some lady you're fresh off the barracks, dude. You couldn't have thrown it on her back, brother. Jesus Christ. That's insane to treat yourself to a full cream pie with a stranger. What was it, your birthday? All right. I mean, I just don't. I met a guy. I had a friend. I had this friend of mine. So like, it's a crazy situation. He was supposed. Listen to this. He was supposed to sublet a room for 1 month. That month was March 2020. So instead of subletting for 1 month, I just lived with a pretty much stranger during the pandemic for 2 years. But anyway, got to know him. He was a good guy. He would just nut inside every woman he fucked. And I was like, what are you talking about? It drove me crazy, dude. He was like, yeah, I just do. I was like, what?
Those are my favorite ones. The ones who just say it casually.
Yeah.
The ones who are like, oh yeah, I come in everything. I'm like, yeah, you're not supposed to do that. You never learned that?
What do you mean you come inside every woman you fuck? That's insane, dude.
Do you not realize?
I can't, but people like that exist. So anyway, go ahead. Let's get to the rest of this.
She didn't want to go through the process to find out who the father was because she fucked around with like 5 dudes in the barracks. And
been bad for morale.
She didn't want to waste all the money of
the U.S. turns on each other
and getting our parental tests done. So years went by, and I kind of always kept up with her just in case, it was my kid.
That's crazy. This is insane.
Unfortunately, I, through just stalking her Facebook over the past couple months, found out she's dying of lung cancer. So
what?
Here's the issue.
Holy shit.
She's dying of lung cancer, and from what I can see, this kid really doesn't have anybody.
And God.
I'm fairly certain it's mine.
What?
Because there's
I was the only white guy she fucked. Anyway, sorry.
Distinct feature the kid has. When I was a child, I had flaming red hair. So does this kid.
This is like science from the 1400s.
Flaming just like mine as a kid, and I looked up.
Well, when I look at the moon, my eyes glimmer in the
the
same way his eyes glimmer. Anyway, sorry.
Holy shit, Stavvy, you were right.
Keep going.
Flaming just like mine as a kid, and I looked up the 4 other dudes from the army. One of them is black. 2 of them are Latino, and the other white guy
diverse.
had black
I know, this girl's
hair.
not racist.
So, my question is, do I
this is
message
crazy.
this girl? Do I get involved? I'm in a very good spot right now.
Doesn't sound like it.
I'm a veterinarian technician. I've been doing this for years.
I'm in a good spot right now. I've been stalking one woman I nutted inside for the last 11 years. I haven't really tried to work on a relationship with anybody else. Anyway, this is insane. Keep going.
But I'm also getting married in September.
Oh my God.
My fiance knows nothing about this.
What?
So I feel like dropping all of this on her would be fucking huge.
Do it at the wedding, dude.
Do I message her? Do I get involved? Do I just...
Oh my God! It's
Okay,
part two.
Eldest, I got to give you credit where credit's due.
Yeah, this one's
you
good.
pulled a banger over two. I mean,
well,
I'm
let's see how the next minute goes. I also love the idea of doing it at the wedding. It's like, hey, you know how you said in sickness and in health, no matter what. Guess what, honey? You just fucking some fucking redheaded bastard pops out of a cake.
He's the ring bearer. Who the fuck is that? Sorry.
All right. Damn.
This is 17 years ago. This kid's
I don't know. Let's see.
Hey, Stav, I was just the guy who called. I got cut off about, this chick's dying of lung cancer.
The episode recap.
Previously on this voicemail.
Sure, it's mine. My fiance knows nothing about this. We've talked. We never want kids.
Oh, my God.
We have dogs and cats. What do I do? Do I get involved? Do I just let the situation go? I mean, this was 17, 18 years ago.
Oh.
I just don't know. Do I message her, say, hey, maybe I'm your kid's dad, but, she has terminal lung cancer. I don't really know the time frame, just stalking her Facebook. I'm not friends with her, so I only get limited information from this.
What?
What do you think, Stav? Do I do it?
I mean, you've nutted inside, right? I think it's time to send a friend request.
Holy fuck.
My life is different now. I'm not getting involved in this, but I mean, pretty sure this redheaded stepchild is mine. So
Holy
do I
fuck.
step up? Do I take care of him? Do I even message anybody? I don't know what to do.
This is
Big
insane
fan.
that you called
Love
me.
everything you do. Have a good one, man.
Yeah, I mean, talk to a
Hope you
therapist
give me
too,
some
please,
advice.
for fuck's sake. This is incredible. I mean,
it's insane.
This
in my
is
opinion,
crazy.
you gotta fucking do something. You gotta reach. I would reach out to the
She hasn't
mother.
reached out to him though, which is
know.
also interesting.
I know, but he is the father.
I
You don't know that.
man.
Now now you're engaging in like
She banked 5 guys that he says
that he
she
knows of.
Yeah, exactly.
Who's to
That's
say there
weird.
wasn't a fucking traveling Irish step dance team coming through town,
Yeah.
coming through Fort Collins? Dun 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 dun.
I mean, she really did a United Nations thing with her badge. I mean, that's
He has
pretty
limited
crazy.
information too.
Yeah.
She could have a guy. Like she could have remarried in that time too, and that guy could he could have a stepfather.
But the timing lines up.
I guess the timing
But
lines
she's
up.
not trying to find him.
That is true.
And he hasn't brought this up until now. Like
it's not like this lady reached out to him and was like, I think you're this kid's dad, or even this kid reached out to him. He only knows about it because he's looking at it.
It is
through
hilarious if he's
Facebook.
not the dad, and he's just like, I'm just the guy who came in your mom 17 years ago.
He takes a DNA test. This kid gets his hopes up in the middle of like the most traumatic thing ever. He's like, oh. Not me. Well, I have to go get married.
or he tells his wife, and it's like,
And it ruins
he finds out
everything.
it's
That's
not-
the thing.
And it's,
His,
and it's not
him
his
and
kid.
his fiance have planned a life where they don't want kids. Imagine you're this guy's fiance.
Yeah.
And the fucking 2 months before your wedding, this guy, who, by the way, hasn't told you anything about this.
Yeah.
And is having like a sense of, and you're right, we don't
And
know
he's
what's going
personally
on.
reaching out. Nobody else reached out. He
It's
would,
true.
but
But
he
it's
would be like,
clearly
I-
eating him up inside.
I don't-
You don't get a 4-minute voicemail without.
I don't know,
he
man.
needs to. I say just forget it because it's like if she's not.
What if it's
reaching
your
out-
kid though?
Yeah, but why? It's 18 years later. It's like he hasn't been a part. Nobody's reached out to him. He hasn't even tried.
It's also
to reach
a
out.
little different that it is 18 and not like a 4-year-old.
Yeah.
Like when it was 18, not that it's good either way, right? But it's like this motherfucker's about to go to college. Like, does he want some guy in his life? And then it's like, I mean, unless what you're doing is, I don't know, giving him some money for college, like maybe something like that. But if these people haven't reached out to you at all, you also don't know what his support system is, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, his mom's unfortunately dying, and that is tragic, but does she have siblings, other family? Does she have a stepdad? Does he have people that he's close to? I'm not saying this is good, but also this idea that this guy is uninvited, going to barge into these people's lives during an incredibly difficult, traumatic time where it's like,
I'm with you.
Does she want, and who knows, maybe this woman's fucking gotten religious. Do you think she wants to know about she wants to be reminded of the time she was just fucking letting it loose on the barracks?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know. It's just, he's also, it's weird for him to have kept tabs but not reached out, and like,
Yeah.
He says it's 18 years ago, so it's like, what, you've sort of watched this kid. His behavior is strange.
Yep.
It's so funny that I'm now realizing I'm reading into this the way I wish my biological father behaved.
Yeah,
I'm like, you should have reached out.
Yeah.
You should say something.
Yeah.
Maybe apologize.
Right. Right. True.
No, but
like,
it's
but your situation is different.
It's different, and I also think this. Yeah, I hope it's different. I hope my mom didn't fuck a whole bear. Jesus Christ. She's my mom thinks there was a black guy. There were two Hispanics. Like, stop it, Mom! For the love of God. No. So I do think, though, why not just take a paternity test? Reach out and say, I don't know. I would like to know if I am the father. I don't know. Maybe
I get
wrong.
it. I mean, no, you're not wrong. This is the other thing. There is no right or wrong.
I think he's doing this because he does want to, though. I think that's why he's leaving this message.
There is a little bit of that too. That is what I am picking up on, is that he does want to have some kind of relationship with this kid. And look, we've had this conversation has sort of come up multiple times, where it's like, and we also kind of talked about the nature versus nurture thing. It's like, is this his kid? I don't think it really is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, in terms of, he wasn't there for this kid, and like, now it took like a tragedy for him to like if this woman doesn't get cancer, right?
Yeah. Does he
ever give a fuck? You know what I mean? Like,
That's fair.
And so, and again, I'm not saying that these are bad, but I also would just say, like, it's a crazy thing to drop this on. He's really potentially fucking up a lot of people's lives because of his guilt. He's potentially fucking up his fiance's life, who she is well within her rights to be like, what the fuck? We specifically said we don't want kids, and now I have to have a relationship with this person, this guy, this kid who maybe she doesn't feel positive about, but she doesn't feel negative about, but she doesn't feel necessarily positive about. And then it's like, yeah, I just don't know. I guess we don't have enough information, right? Because if it's a situation where this kid is about to get evicted and whatever, and he just feels some kind of need to just help him afloat, that's one thing. But I don't know. He's kind of barging in on this. It's an interesting. It's hard, man.
It's tough because it clearly is like, something that he does like feel guilty about and has thought about for years, and like, just low key like cyber stalk, kept tabs on this woman. I think like that alone is why I would say, like, maybe he should just reach out, because he like, maybe do a paternity test. Like, clearly he wants to know, and like he wants to like know conclusively like what's going on and stuff. But at the same time, it's like, you're making a cancer diagnosis, someone else's cancer diagnosis about you.
That's true.
If you're like, just bringing this up and opening this whole can of worms while they're just trying to like, who knows what the health situation is. And the fact that no one's reached out to him, it's like, you don't know the support system. Maybe they're fine and they're just like focusing on the health stuff.
And focusing on the last few months of this woman's life.
Yeah.
You think she necessarily wants to spend it embroiled in a paternity case? This is something she's wanted to avoid her whole life. Now she wants to spend the last 3 months of her life.
And clearly she doesn't care who the father is.
Yeah.
Or she would have reached out.
The son might care. I mean, you're getting to that age where you do want to know where you came from.
And listen, if that's the case, then maybe the thing here is, like, unless someone reaches out to you in this terminal
Do you think you should
time,
message the woman, though? Maybe like you just messages the dying woman and be like,
if you're
hey,
dying and somebody from your past that you have on purpose kept out of your life reaches out to you, is that who you want to spend the rest of your, like, is that who you want to? That's going to take a lot of her energy. I almost, for her sake, feel like, I guess talking it through with you guys, what it feels like is, if someone reaches out to him, obviously you have carte blanche to do whatever, right? But if you really care about if you do care about the kid, whatever, then maybe the time is after, I hate to be morbid about it, but it's like after the woman's passed, after they've dealt with their own stuff as a family. Because it is, you're right, Eldest, when you're saying it, like making somebody else's diagnosis about you. That's what he's doing.
Yeah.
And I would say, I don't know. I just know from putting myself in this woman's shoes, if a girl from my past, I mean, it's hard to, obviously you can't have a kid with I can't have fucked 5 women and then like I have a child, but whatever. But if like a girl from my past that I didn't want anything to do with reaches out to me over something similar to this, it's like, hey, I'm trying to be with my family. Like, I don't want to spend the time at lawyers' offices and drawing up shit like that. And if I did want that, I would be the one. I feel like at that point, you decide how you want to spend your time.
Right.
And if it's something where this woman, it's eating her up and she's like, fuck, I really want to just make sure my son is provided for, I'll go through this thing I wanted to avoid for his sake. But that's not what she's doing. So I don't know. It just feels like a little bit like right now you should stay out of it unless somebody, reaches out to you. And then if the kid ever reaches out to you, or if you want to later on do that, but you also don't know how this kid would react. We clearly, because we talked about this on a different episode, there is a split philosophy here of like how much being a biological parent means to someone. Me and Ian Fines had a big argument, and half the people are like, Stav's, which by the way is kind of my fault to wade into waters where Ian was my intellectual equal. That's on me. But it's a thing that's very emotional, right? Where it's like some people think. Like the question was about like a sperm donor, right? And a sperm donor who had, he hadn't. The mistake they had made was they hadn't made a clear cut decision on like, how much the donor was going to be a part of the life. He's like friends with the people so he's around them, and now that the kid's growing up, he feels some type of way of like, well, this is my kid, I should have extra whatever. Whereas like they were lesbians, they're like, no, it's our kid, like that's part of the whole thing, right? And my view was always like, well, yeah, you're a donor. That's not your kid. Yeah. That's their kid. And and I guess this is different, right? But there's a lot of people feel very strongly that just the biology gives you a really strong like claim on someone, right? And we don't know how this kid feels on that philosophical issue, because this kid might be like, who the fuck are you coming? Like, there's just too many variables here. I guess what I'm trying to get at is the kid might be the kind of person who thinks, I really want to know who my biological father is and I want a relationship with him. That's a coin flip. The kid might be a kid who's like resentful of this guy and says, get the fuck out of my face. I want nothing to do with you. So it just feels like between the last few years of this woman's life thing and the being uncertain as to how wanted he even is in this situation from the mom or the kid, and we haven't even gotten into how it might fuck his life up with his fiance and how like kind of selfish it is to promise her this wedding and this whole life without kids and then be like, I feel bad, so I don't know. To me, it's something you got to stay out of for now.
Yeah, there's not a good time to tell her any insight. You don't want to do it leading up to the wedding. You sure as fuck don't want to break it down in the honeymoon. right. You're in Cabo, honey.
It's kind
I think honestly he should just crack this open. He should reach out to the woman through Facebook. And
that's what my gut says.
Start with that, because he just knows too much to ignore it and be like, it's like, on the one hand, he's like not this kid's father because he hasn't been like part of their life. So it's not. He shouldn't do it out of like some sense of like, obligation. I have to take care of, this kid is 18. They're an adult now. So they've got their shit like figured out, but he just knows too much, man. It sounds like there's a good chance the kid might be his.
1 in 6.
He knows the mom's dying or whatever. And like, they're just,
also feel
there just is like no good time to say it, but it will like eat at him if he doesn't.
Yeah,
I think as a kid you do want to know at a certain point, even if it's for bad, you can make that decision that you don't want him to be a part of your life. But I think you want the option.
Yeah.
I also think from his fiance's perspective, it's crazy he thinks about this much and hasn't told her.
That's insane.
That's almost
that's what's going to get him, and that's going to get him in a lot of trouble.
Like, that's the thing where
that's
it's like
be bad.
Guy who's also lied to his wife.
Yeah. I know. 100%. Buddy, don't do it.
No, I see where you're. Sorry to cut you off. Do you have more, Gary?
No, I was just gonna say that I also have a redhead, so I'm like, this guy might be the father.
Yeah. Whoa, did this guy fuck your wife, Gary? Yeah, dude. I mean, I get what you're both saying, and you obviously having the perspective of not growing up with your biological father, Sam, is interesting for sure. I think the crazy thing is, like, there's just a lot of the not tell. I almost feel like the person he definitely sort of has to tell is his soon-to-be wife.
You got to.
Because it's like...
God, this is not going to end
It's not going to be taken well, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think so either. But
the one thing he has going for him at least is that if he's completely honest the way he was with us, and it happened long before they met.
Yeah.
And he could say, I'm not sure about this, but this is eating at me. I think if you make it...
Yeah,
if you
like,
present it in that...
Yeah,
in that
17,
context.
18 years ago, I had sex with this woman.
Yeah, it was
totally
pussy was
responsible.
awesome, by the way.
It was awesome.
She
Well,
gave
listen,
She didn't make me wear a condom or nothing. I just blew a fat load right inside her.
You know?
Just talk about the load a lot in great detail.
I think, I mean, just let it, I guess tell her.
This is tough. We're literally split down the middle of these two say reach out, and we're like, I don't know.
So you know what? You're the tiebreaker. So we didn't really help.
We didn't help at all, but we batted it around quite a bit.
Yeah.
I do think there is something a little dishonest to getting into a marriage with, like, it'd be one thing if this wasn't something he gave a fuck about, right? Like, if this was something that he found out by accident, but this guy keeps tabs, and it's like, I don't know, man. If you kind of have to tell someone you're about to marry this thing, this huge thing that's kind of lurking in your life. This guy's just been kind of in no man's land with this issue. That's the weirdest, most fucked up thing is that, forget it. I would know where he's coming from if it was like, look, this lady didn't want me in the kid's life, and I'm just never going to think about this again. I would respect that, or I would respect, you know what, you didn't want to get paternity tested, but this might be my kid, I have to know. Mm-hmm. I would respect that. What he's done, I actually really don't respect. I hate to say it because I know he's in a tough thing, but it's like, if you're out, why are you keeping tabs like this? And now that you know this thing, it's just, he's kind of handled it the worst way, to be honest.
It's tough.
But it is,
he can't live on this situation on like borrowed time anymore, because I feel like he just needs to like really do the scary thing and tell his fiance.
I think it starts with your fiance.
Starts with the fiance and it ends with one more load in the dying one.
She's like, hey,
she's dying. Going for the road.
The chemo's fried her pussy up. I'm not supposed to nut inside.
Oh my god.
Watch your son be a fan of Stavvy's world.
Oh no!
Daddy!
Oh fuck! I didn't even think about that. Please, God,
I've done the show a few times. This is the most interesting one we've gotten while I've been here.
Without question. Holy fuck! It's way above our pay grade.
You pulled a fucking a diamond out of here.
Yeah.
Aldous. Well done.
Thanks.
There you go, brother. All right. Well, hey, man, we didn't really help you, but it sounds like we at least can all agree with you have to tell your fiance.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. She's also supposed, kind of gauge how she reacts, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Because that's another important domino. This really was a crazily layered question. The amount of different angles is insane.
Yeah.
If you were in this situation, like from the jump, would you guys want to know if it's your kid? How do you think you would even respond?
From the jump, as in when it happened?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, because then you probably should do something about it, right? So I
say
think
he's 18 at the time. You're thinking a little different. You're like,
I'm saying, yeah. If I was 18, I just wouldn't have kept tabs. I would have just been like, I would have Don Drapered it. It's my past, brother. I'm a different guy. Truly, I just know I would have. Which maybe I'm a bad guy, but that is how I would. If this lady didn't want me, it's like, well, thank you for the get out of jail free card, and then I'm just living my life. But
I'm Stavvy, baby. Dick Whitman.
Yeah, it's tough, man. Yeah. If this is actually you right now,
it's tough.
But good thing it's not me.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you got something fun to end on?
Oh yeah.
Hey, Stavvy, what's up? My name is Brandon. I am a fellow Baltimorean.
My man.
Hamden, Roland Avenue, Falls Road. You name it.
Great streets,
Anyway,
man.
I know people call in a lot for advice, dating, and lifestyle. Otherwise, not many people call in to read you poetry that they have written for you.
Oh wow!
I wrote a poem. I hope you like it.
Poetry from a piece of Baltimore
I'm
trash.
a real big fan. But first I have to say, I desperately love vagina, and I swear I am not gay.
But if I did switch sides to do the gay man strut, I think it's pretty clear I'd put feta in your butt. Boy, do I love cooters. They really are the best. But if you had the number 2, you could do it on my chest. Naked women rule. I have pictures on my walls. But I would not bat an eye if you spit moussaka on my balls. Kitties, huh? Aren't they great? I really love girl crotches. Let's drink some wine, then 69, while my grandpa watches. You are so very talented. I wish you continued luck. I think it's clear I am not gay unless you want to fuck. So if you like it, big fan. Continue success. Love you, brother.
Wow, man.
This is the
That was
redheaded
beautiful,
son.
yeah. Oh, there's some other shit going on in my
Holy
life too, but
shit.
it's boring. Here's this gay poem I wrote you. Wow, man, that's beautiful. That's
I like that we're all trying to mind the perfect jokes for these hour specials, and then we hear this, it just kills us. It's fucking good.
now that's good stuff. Thank you, brother. That's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful poem, and I think that's going to do it for us, folks. Great episode, some thought-provoking stuff here. Watch both specials.
Yeah.
Listen to the podcast.
July 9th, Amazon. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, there it is.
Who cares? And I'm on the road, Miami Improv, Atlantic City with Chris DiStefano, and this guy's going to be with me for both of those. And Rochester, New York, Harmony at the Carlson. So dipping back in right a new hour. So
Love it. And Big Gare, let's not forget, what's the podcast called?
Podcast called Number One Dad.
Number One Dad.
Coming out
Listen
June
to
10th.
it. Coming out June 10th, and the special's out on the Tube.
YouTube May 28th.
28th. So
you killed it.
I'm
proud
the
of
special's
him.
already out, guys. The special's out. It's already gotten 5 million views. It's actually the most viral YouTube special. Listen, go, but I can't wait for the podcast. And guys, thanks so much for coming by. And of course, we have Winnie here.
Winnie is not moved.
I know.
I love it. Elvis like, is she gonna bark? I'm like, nah.
What a dog. What a
Doesn't even
fucking dog. All right, guys. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.